welcome to Mind Your Business, a channel where we are in everybody's business. If you don't mind getting in people's business, you're on the right channel. Talking about current topics and gossip. Well, this Tisha and Martell storyline is getting from bad to worse, and now Chris is involved. I'm like, what? Fletcher, I expected better from you. And Martell is out here acting up. Off screen, off camera, just out here with antics. Let's talk about it, people. Welcome to my inquisitive crew. Let's talk about Love and Marriage Huntsville, aka Love and Mugshots. Now, there's just a couple of things I want to talk about on this episode. So, Tisha and Ken, I just feel like Tisha doesn't really want to get remarried. You know, she's still entangled with her other half, whether she wants to believe it or not, because it shouldn't take this amount of time to file your papers. You have got it notarized, you've signed it, but yet your excuse is you got called into the office and we saw you working from home. Like, what's going on? At this point, it's just excuses, and it shouldn't take this long to get divorce papers set off. And then she said, did she say that Marquis didn't sign the papers, or he doesn't want to sign the papers? Well, we know he still loves her, so that's not that surprising, but it's very messy. And Ken, like I said last week, I feel like he needs to butt out of it. He has a lot to say when it comes to this situation. I understand he's kind of swooped in, but there's a part of me that feels like he's now bordering on being a bit more egotistical. Like, you know, he's the man that's come in and he's like the Superman, basically. So I feel like he's enjoying that role and therefore rubbing it in. So like later on when we see him talking to the guys when they go to Martell's open house and he's going on and he's like, oh, I don't want to talk bad about him, but then goes on to talk bad about him. I'm like, yeah, we know this guy's husband's got issues, definitely, but you need to see your way out of all this mix-up, because this is a lot. Your woman still hasn't even filed the divorce papers, and when you mentioned, you know, you're ready to get married, she was very quiet, so she is not in a rush. You know, while she's trying to say she's excited, her face isn't showing excitement. I thought it was nice seeing him encourage her to do her, you know, follow her passion and transition into entrepreneurship, so I thought that was really nice. He's saying all the right things. Like, I feel like he's got some nice tendencies, but I feel like there's more issues with him. Maybe he didn't grab with his dad or something, where he feels like he has to go in and be the Superman. You know, that's the kind of vibe that I get from him anyway. But yeah, other than that, I just feel like those two, yeah, they're just a bit messy. But it was sad to hear about the kids and how used to they are seeing Marquis kind of act that way. And it was sad to hear her daughter, you know, say that she doesn't even want to call him dad anymore. She wants to just, you know, call him Marquis or him. So that's really sad. And I hope that they get into a better position than what they're in. Now, I do think Maurice and Martell meeting up was a good little scene. It was really nice to see Maurice actually give him advice. Like, to me, Maurice comes across, both him and his brother, as much as his brother gets my nerves sometimes, they both come across as though they had a father figure in the house, because they just, you know, the way that they approach things is a bit different. Like, to me, Martell gives the vibe that, you know, he didn't have a man in the house, and so he does have slight daddy issues, and that's why he kind of maybe resorts to becoming more like a child. Like, I actually felt sorry for him in this episode, because it was just like, you're spiraling out of control, but really the reason why you're spiraling is because you blew up your own life by cheating and doing what you was doing, and then you just kept going and going and going. And the reality is you still love your wife, and she still loves you, which is why she's also lashing out. I do feel like Maurice made some good points about her being hurt and, you know, being embarrassed on TV and being famous and being well known for what he did to her, which is true. And her being hurt by that and seeing her lash out at everybody else. You can see some of that. So some of that I thought made sense. And I felt like while Maurice was definitely spitting some truth to him, I also felt like he was also probably just slightly making sure he got in there, because he was saying certain things like, you know, when you're hurt, you'll say anything, you'll do anything. Like, as if to say, yeah, don't throw me under the bus, brother. Like, don't throw me under the bus like you're doing to my brother. It felt a little bit like that. But either way, I still felt like he was dropping some gems in his ears, and it was good that it seemed like Martell was taking it on. And talking about taking it on, it was interesting to see Martell actually have his therapy session with his therapist, which made me laugh, because the therapist's face made me laugh when he was like, here, he feels like, you know, he has a little bit of work doing himself, basically, around being focused. But it's just like, no, there's more work to be done. So her face definitely let it be known. Going back to Maurice, I felt like it was interesting. He kept saying things like, you know, he really falls out with people, and when he does, it's mostly other people's fault. It's just like, once again, you're not being accountable for your own shit, because like I said, he blew up his life, and now he is now living with the consequences. You can see that it's eating him up. As much as he tries to put on this fake bravado stuff, it's eating him up. And
he doesn't know how to handle his emotion, which is why he reacts like a child. So at least he's in therapy. So that's a good thing. But the therapist, I felt like, was good. You know, she's trying to get him to understand that he needs to focus and stop using excuses, like using his kids as an excuse or whatever else is happening, instead of just focusing on himself. So I feel like that was some good advice. Okay, so later we see Kimmy and Tisha, and I don't know why Tisha keeps bringing up Martell. Now, this bit kind of throws me, because I'm like, Trisha's always talking about she doesn't want to get, you know, thrown into this whole Martell situation. But then you keep bringing it up. So she brings up Martell and says, oh, you know, what I don't understand is, you know, Martell tells me that it was Fletcher that told him to reach out to me. So obviously Chris Fletcher is Nell's husband, but also the two of them were so-called mentors and friends to them during their whole crisis in their marriage. So of course I'm looking at Chris like, oh, this is very sly, Chris. Like, what? So now later on, when we're seeing Martell at his open house, which was good to see him in his business element and getting on with some work and seeing him in that light rather than just causing mix-up and drama, because that's how we first got to see them in the first place, you know, business, houses and stuff. Anyway, at that point, I thought it was interesting, because when Tisha tells Nell about Chris being the one that told Martell to reach out, of course she's like, what? Goes to go and get her husband. Like, apparently you're the one who caused all this mix-up. And they all come in. All the guys pile in, because everyone's faces made me laugh. They're all like, oh, like they got caught with their hand in a cookie jar. And of course, they just start mumbling and stumbling. You all look like you're lying. Between Tisha, Chris and Martell, I'm just like, you all look like you're lying. None of this is adding up. You've got him saying, oh, yeah, but I was on the phone to him. No, this is not making any sense. It's making it seem like something more happened between Tisha and Martell. And again, was Tisha married at the time? She was. Did Chris know this? Don't know. He's saying that he didn't really know her that well. He just saw her at the gym. And it just doesn't make any sense to me. I feel like something more has happened, and the more they keep trying to act like nothing's happened, it looks more obvious that something has happened. And even Ken can see it. He's just like, well, this ain't adding up, because when he asked them, they were talking about, oh, yeah, Martell's talking about it was through his brother. And now Trisha's saying it's through Chris. But did you tell Ken this? Like, it's just all ridiculous. Ken just needs to butt out all of it and make sure she signs her papers. Maybe wait for her to be actually properly single. But it's too late. They're already in it. They're living together. And they're living with the kids together. So it's a hot mess. A hot mess. So yeah, like I said, I feel like Martell's got a lot of growing to do. Although, like I said, I did feel a bit sorry for him at this time. And it was so bad timing with them all arguing about the whole who introduced Martell situation at his open house. I was like, trust it to happen at Martell's open house, right? I remember Martell was like, can we just do this another time? It was very, very, very awkward. But like Kimmy said, I feel like it's very weird, because Kimmy pointed out that, you know, you guys are friends with the Holtz and were there apparently giving advice to Melody and Martell. Nell looks very surprised and not very happy about it. So I'm just like, Chris, are you over here being a little puppet master in the background and being very sly? Because this is not a good look. This is not a good look. And if that is the case, that makes sense as to why Melody has kind of been a bit off with Nell. Maybe she's behind the scenes as well. So maybe she saw all this and thought, oh, hell no, this is what's been going on. Who knows? Maybe she has more receipts. I don't know. Now, I was saying that I kind of felt sorry for Martell, but the thing is, I couldn't feel completely sorry for him, because wasn't he just out here with Marsau's side chick and interviewing her with his side chick? So if you want to, you know, be better and work on yourself, what is this nonsense you're out here doing? So he needs to get it together. I feel like he still is lashing out, like I said, like a little kid. And I do think it comes from some of his daddy issues that he's got. Like, he's got his own issues to work out. So now, on top of Martell already, you know, getting the side chick situation going on interview, obviously that hasn't created enough of a reaction from the Scotts, because they've been clearly just living their own life and ignoring him. So now he has decided to go back at Tisha and posted up on his Instagram story a picture with Marsau with some guys, and he's added Tisha saying, now is the perfect time to tell Marsau about my friend who had you in the back of a Buick. Is he the one that caused the scare after Marsau's vasectomy too? #shareable, #fact, #fishing trip. So I'm like, oh goodness me. And he's got a bunch of laughing faces. And he's posted another one even more recently saying good morning to Letitia Scott. You let my boy eat with your hubby too? You wild for that. What Marsau don't know won't hurt. Hashtag shareable. Hashtag Buick. Clearly, we know he's throwing shade at Marsau, who basically said that he basically mashed up and blew up his life for a shareable side chick. So this is where the shareable is coming from. So, Martell is still at it. What do you think, people? Do you believe these things that Martell is saying? We know he's lied on the show, but do you think he's telling the truth about this? Do you think these are decent receipts? They don't show anything besides, because a bunch of guys' faces blacked out. The Scots, I haven't seen them respond to any of this as of yet. But I'll keep an eye and I'll keep you posted. And what makes all this whole drama even worse is that we won't see it being covered in the reunion coming up, because from what I understand, it's already been filmed. So it doesn't seem like we'll get to see them talk about it. Anyway, of course, I went to check out social media to see what people were saying on there. Here are some tweets that had me cracking up. Okay, so you've seen those tweets and you heard what I have to say. Now, what are you saying? Let me know your thoughts below.
Yes, so thanks for watching that. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share, and hit that notification bell so you know when I am uploading some more of people's business. So until then, my nosy people, stay blessed.